All right, so today we're going to be doing a deep dive into the world of hockey,
Oh, wow.
specifically how its time works,
Oh, okay.
which is more interesting than it might sound at first.
Right.
Our source today is an article called
Hmm.
How Many Periods in Hockey? Quick update.
Okay.
Now, you might be wondering why you should care.
Yeah.
Well, maybe you're prepping for your first game.
Sure.
Maybe you're settling a bar bet.
Right.
Or maybe you just love random sports facts
Yeah.
that make you the MVP of trivia night.
Love it.
Whatever the reason, stick with us.
Okay.
Because this deep dive into the flow of a hockey game
Mm-hmm.
might just surprise you.
All right. I'm intrigued already, and I haven't even laced up my skates.
Right. And here's a fun fact to get us started. The longest hockey game ever played lasted for over 8 hours.
8 hours. Wow. That's a marathon on ice.
Exactly. But let's not get ahead of ourselves.
Okay.
For anyone who's not quite a hockey aficionado,
Yeah.
the basics are this. A game is divided into 3 periods,
Okay.
each 20 minutes long. So 60 minutes of play in total.
All right.
But that's just the playing time.
Oh, so there's more.
Yeah, you got to factor in those intermissions.
Right. Those little mini breaks between periods.
Exactly, like 15 to 20 minutes each.
Yeah. 15 to 20 minutes each.
Now, I get why players would need a breather.
Yeah.
Hockey's nonstop action.
Oh,
right?
yeah. For sure.
But what's going on during those intermissions that takes up so much time?
Well, for a couple of reasons.
Okay.
Just like in boxing or swimming, hockey is all about intense bursts of energy.
Mm-hmm.
Players need those breaks to recover and come back strong.
Makes sense.
Right.
But I'm guessing it's not just about letting the players catch their breath.
Definitely not.
No.
It's also about maintaining that icy battleground.
Right.
Remember that ice takes a beating with all those skates and pucks flying around?
Yeah.
And that iconic ice resurfacing machine?
I love that thing.
It's not just there for aesthetics.
Right.
It's vital for player safety and for ensuring the puck moves smoothly across the ice. So that's why other sports don't have these long intermissions. They're
Right.
not dealing with a constantly changing playing surface.
Exactly. It's a unique element that really sets hockey apart.
Okay.
Now, this whole 3-period system,
Mm-hmm.
it's different from, say, basketball or football.
Yeah, it is.
Why do you think hockey evolved this way?
Well, you mentioned the intense bursts of energy
Yep.
and the need to resurface the ice.
Mm-hmm.
So those seem like pretty good reasons,
Right.
but is there something more to it?
It's a fascinating question.
Like why 3 periods specifically?
Yeah, why 3?
Yeah.
It likely boils down to finding a balance between player stamina,
Okay.
game flow,
Mm-hmm.
and the need to maintain that pristine ice.
Right.
Too many breaks and you lose the momentum.
Yeah.
Too few and you risk player exhaustion
Right.
and a choppy playing surface.
Makes sense.
3 periods seems to be that sweet spot.
Okay. I'm starting to see how all these elements work together
Yeah.
to create this fast-paced yet strategic game.
But what happens when a game is tied
Mhm.
after those 3 periods?
Well, most professional leagues like the NHL are not fans of ties.
Really?
Yeah,
So they just call it a draw?
not quite.
What do they do?
They've got some dramatic ways to settle things. First up is overtime.
Ooh, overtime. So how does that work in hockey?
It's sudden death,
Okay.
meaning the first team to score wins.
Gotcha.
The length of overtime varies depending on the league,
Mm-hmm.
but it can be anywhere from 5 to 20 minutes.
Got it. So the pressure is definitely on during overtime.
Oh, yeah.
But what if, after all that extra time,
Yeah.
nobody scores?
Mm-hmm.
Did they just give up and go home?
That's when they bring out the big guns. The shootout.
Okay, so explain a shootout.
It's a one-on-one showdown between a player and the opposing goalie.
Gotcha.
Each team gets a set number of attempts, and whoever sinks the most goals wins.
So it goes from this team-oriented strategic game
Yeah,
to a duel of individual skill.
it is.
That's quite a shift.
Yeah, it is, and it's actually a point of contention for some hockey fans.
Really?
Yeah, some see it as an exciting, nail-biting way to end a close game.
I can see how it would be pretty dramatic.
Yeah.
But what about those who don't love this shootout?
Yeah.
What are their arguments?
Well, some feel it's a bit too random,
Right.
a little too detached from the rest of the game.
I see their point.
Yeah.
After all that teamwork and strategy,
Right.
the game suddenly boils down to a few individual shots.
Exactly.
That must feel a little anticlimactic.
Right. It raises the question, What's the fairest way to determine a winner
Yeah.
in a sport that's so complex and team-oriented?
That's a good question.
Yeah.
Speaking of complexity,
Yeah.
there's one more time-related element that's unique to hockey.
Okay.
The article mentions something called penalty time.
Oh, yeah.
What's that all about?
Penalty time.
Yeah.
It adds another layer of strategy to the game.
Okay.
When a player breaks the rules,
Ah.
they're sent off the ice.
Right.
For a certain amount of time, usually 2 to 5 minutes,
Right.
their team has to play shorthanded during that time,
Right.
which can dramatically shift the momentum.
So it's not just about outscoring your opponent.
Right.
It's about playing smart and staying out of the penalty box.
Exactly. And here's another interesting wrinkle. The game clock actually stops whenever there's a whistle.
Oh.
So that 20-minute period could actually take much longer in real time.
That explains how we get those marathon 8-hour games.
Right.
Makes sense.
That record-breaking game really puts things into perspective.
Yeah.
I'm curious, though,
Mhm.
what stands out to you the most about this unique system of
Yeah.
periods and intermissions?
Honestly, it's how everything is interconnected.
Oh, yeah.
The intense play,
Right.
the need for rest,
Mm-hmm.
the ice maintenance, it all comes together
Yeah.
to create this fascinating rhythm to the game.
It's like a carefully choreographed dance
Yeah.
where each element plays a crucial role. And that's part of what makes hockey so captivating to watch.
Absolutely. Now, all this talk about
Yeah.
time and how it's structured in hockey got me thinking,
Yeah.
why don't other sports adopt a similar system?
It's a great question.
Why haven't we seen a Zamboni on a basketball court?
Each sport evolves its own set of rules and structures based on its unique characteristics.
Right.
Basketball, with its emphasis on continuous flow and action, might not benefit from the same kind of breaks.
I guess the players wouldn't be too happy about that.
Probably not. And let's not forget that a wooden court doesn't require the same level of meticulous maintenance as an ice rink.
So it's not just about the players.
Right.
It's about the playing surface itself.
Absolutely.
That makes a lot of sense.
Each sport has its own unique DNA, and that includes how time is measured and managed within the game.
Okay, so we've covered the basics of periods in hockey.
Yeah.
From the reasons behind their structure to the excitement of overtime and shootouts.
Mm-hmm.
What's fascinating here is how all these elements, the periods, intermissions,
Yeah.
even the penalty time,
Right.
work together to create a game that's both fast-paced and strategic.
It's like a finely tuned machine
Yeah.
where each component contributes to the overall performance and spectacle.
Exactly. But before we get too caught up in the excitement,
Yeah.
let's take a step back and consider this.
Mhm.
Why do you think other sports don't adopt this three-period system?
That's a fantastic question.
Why hasn't basketball jumped on the Zamboni bandwagon?
It really makes you think about the specific needs and demands of each sport. Perhaps basketball,
Yeah.
with its emphasis on continuous, fast-paced action,
Yeah.
wouldn't benefit from the same kind of breaks.
Maybe the players wouldn't want to lose that momentum.
Right.
Or maybe the hardwood court doesn't require the same level of maintenance as an ice rink.
Precisely, each sport evolves its own set of rules and structures based on its unique characteristics and objectives.
Okay, so we've covered the basics of periods in hockey. From the reasons behind the three-period structure to the excitement of overtime and shootouts. What's fascinating here is how all these elements,
Right.
the periods, intermissions, even the penalty time,
Yeah.
work together to create a game that's both fast-paced and strategic.
It's like a finely tuned machine where each component contributes to the overall performance and spectacle.
Exactly. But before we wrap up this deep dive, there's one more intriguing detail from the article that we need to unpack.
Oh, I'm all ears.
Yeah.
What else did you find? Well, remember how we talked about shootouts being used to break ties?
Yeah.
The article mentions them as a common way to determine a winner if overtime doesn't do the trick.
Right. Shootouts always seemed a bit controversial to me.
It definitely sparks debate among
Yeah.
fans and players alike.
On the one hand, I get the appeal.
Yeah.
It's sudden death, one player against the goalie,
Mm-hmm.
pure skill and nerves on display.
Right.
You can't deny the excitement factor.
It's definitely a crowd pleaser.
Yeah.
The tension is almost unbearable as that player skates in for the shot.
But then there's the other side of the coin.
Right.
The argument that it's almost too simple a way to decide a game.
Mm-hmm.
There's been such a complex battle
Right.
of strategy and teamwork for the previous hour or more.
Yeah, hockey is such a dynamic, fast-paced sport with all these moving parts,
Yeah.
lines changing,
Right.
power plays, penalty kills.
Right.
To have it all boil down to a few isolated shots can feel a bit like
Yeah, a letdown.
like saying, okay, all that intricate play we just witnessed,
Right.
forget about it.
Exactly.
Just see who wins this mini skills competition.
Exactly. And it raises interesting questions about
Yeah,
what really constitutes a fair outcome in sports.
it does.
Is it about rewarding individual brilliance, or is it about recognizing the collective effort of a team?
And maybe there's no right answer.
Right.
And maybe it's just one of those things that adds to the ongoing conversation.
Yeah.
The passion that makes sports so compelling. That's a great point. It's all part of the tapestry of the game.
Yeah.
These debates and disagreements
Yeah.
keep us engaged, make us think critically, and even challenge our own assumptions about competition and fairness.
Well said.
Mm-hmm.
So to wrap up this deep dive into hockey timekeeping,
Okay.
I think the main takeaway is that it's about so much more than just keeping track of minutes on a clock.
Yeah,
It's about understanding the unique rhythm of this amazing sport.
absolutely. Those periods and intermissions aren't arbitrary.
Right.
They're woven into the very fabric of hockey. They shape the strategy, the physicality, and even the drama of the game.
So whether you're a seasoned fan or a curious newcomer,
Right.
we hope this deep dive has given you a fresh perspective on the game and its fascinating structure.
And if you've never experienced the thrill of a live hockey game, we highly recommend it.
There's truly nothing like it.
Yeah.
The speed, the sound, the energy.
Mm-hmm.
It's an experience that will stay with you long after the final buzzer sounds. Until next time, keep exploring and stay curious.
Yeah.
You know, before we wrap up,
Yeah.
I wanted to go back to something we were talking about before,
Okay.
about those shootouts, deciding close games.
Right.
The article, we've been looking at how many periods in hockey,
Mm-hmm.
from Quick Update, mentions them.
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty standard.
Yeah.
But do they really feel like the best way to end a game?
That's the million-dollar question, and there's no easy answer.
Right.
It can really get some heated debates going
For sure. For sure.
in the hockey world.
On the one hand, I get the appeal.
Yeah.
It's sudden death.
You know.
One player against the goalie.
Mm-hmm.
Pure skill. Pure nerves.
Absolutely.
You can't deny the excitement of it.
Oh, it's a crowd pleaser for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah.
The tension is almost unbearable
Right.
when that player comes skating in for the shot.
But then there's the other side of the coin.
Right. The other side.
That argument that it's too simple a way to decide a game,
Yeah.
that's been so complex and strategic for, over an hour. Hockey's such a dynamic sport.
Yeah.
Fast-paced,
Yeah.
so many moving parts,
Yeah.
lines changing,
Yeah.
power plays, penalty kills.
Uh-huh.
To have it all boil down to just a few shots can feel like a letdown.
Forgetting everything that just happened.
Right, exactly.
All that intricate play we were just watching.
Sure, you get all that.
Yeah, let's just have this little skills competition.
Exactly, and it raises questions about what's actually fair,
Right.
in
Like-
sports.
Yeah, what makes a fair outcome?
Yeah, is it individual brilliance or is it the whole team effort?
And maybe there's no right answer.
I don't think so.
It's just one of those things that keeps the conversation going,
Yeah,
adds to the passion that makes sports so great.
it's all part of the game.
Yeah.
All these debates and disagreements
Exactly.
keeps us thinking critically,
Yeah.
challenging our assumptions about, competition and fairness.
Well said.
Thanks.
Okay, so wrapping up
Yeah.
this deep dive into hockey timekeeping.
I think the main takeaway for me is that it's so much more than just keeping track of time on the clock.
For sure, it's about the rhythm of this great sport.
Absolutely. Those periods and intermissions are built into the sport.
Yeah, they're not arbitrary at all.
Yeah, they shape the strategy,
Yeah.
the physicality,
Mm-hmm.
even the drama of hockey.
Absolutely.
So whether you're already a hockey fan
Right.
or you're just learning about it,
Yeah.
hopefully this has given you a new perspective on the game
I hope so.
and how it's structured.
It's fascinating.
And if you haven't been to a live game,
Oh, yeah.
I highly recommend it.
You got to see it live.
There's nothing like it.
The speed, the sound, the energy.
For sure, an experience you won't forget.
Absolutely.
Until next time, keep exploring and stay curious.